Hello, I'm going to talk to you today about Game of Thrones games. Now, as you can expect from a big, popular, branded license, there have been lots of rubbish Game of Thrones games. There's never really been a good Game of Thrones video game, and when it comes to board games, there's been Game of Thrones Monopoly, Game of Thrones Risk. But I'm going to talk to you today about a board game which kind of nails Game of Thrones, and it's really good. And that game is Game of Thrones: The Iron Throne. So first things first, Game of Thrones: The Iron Throne is actually based on a board game that already exists, and it's called Cosmic Encounter. And this game is genuinely one of the best board games ever made. It's been around since the 70s, and it's kind of widely known to be really, really good. And what's more, it fits with Game of Thrones perfectly. When I was reviewing Cosmic Encounter 6 months ago, I tweeted out that Cosmic Encounter is like Game of Thrones in space. And I was quite rightly corrected by the designer of Cosmic Encounter that actually Game of Thrones is like Cosmic Encounter in Westeros. These two brands and IPs are very linked due to the fact that they're so dependent on alliances and betrayal. And it might surprise you to find out that actually The Iron Throne, it's a board game with no board, because it's all about debating and arguing your point and trying to backstab people or to get them to work on your side. Speaking of which, it feels like Game of Thrones. And the reason it feels like Game of Thrones is because it's not shoehorning in mechanics such as in Monopoly, you're trying to get money and things like that. That's not really what Game of Thrones is about. Game of Thrones is about this battle for control, and it's about manipulating your allies to get what you want. And as a result, the Iron Throne, it just really feels like Game of Thrones. In the Iron Throne, if I'm playing as Cersei Lannister and I'm using her special ability, which is to force other players to fight on my behalf, even when they don't want to, I feel like Cersei Lannister. And this is a weird thing to say, but that feels cool. That is a weird thing to say. There is combat in this game, but it's not really the focus. The focus is going to be on negotiation, trying to manipulate people as you can to achieve your aim and your goal. Because Game of Thrones, the fight scenes and the battles are cool, and I guess some people will watch the TV show for that, but I kind of like the sneaky backstabbing. That's kind of my favourite bit. There's a reason that the bloody wedding is obviously such an iconic scene. And when you're playing the Iron Throne, you're going to have your own versions of the bloody wedding, which doesn't sound good, but it's really, really fun. The Iron Throne is also, it's kind of perfect for the two different audiences. So you have people who like Game of Thrones who are not super experienced, and this game only really takes up to 45 minutes to an hour, and it's very, very easy to teach. And that's linked to the fact there's no board, so you're not learning what specific pieces do or where you need to land. You're just learning how to manipulate your friends, and you should probably already know how to do that. Like I said, there's the other audience, which is board game enthusiasts, and people who like board games generally like Cosmic Encounter. It's one of the best games. And this never feels easy because every game is going to be different. I'm going to touch on that topic later, but because of the different variables of the different group dynamics and who people partner up with, it's always going to be different. So depending on how you feel about Game of Thrones, this next point might really tempt you, it might not interest you at all, but I like the fact that this game is based very clearly on the TV show. There's been a bunch of Game of Thrones board games out, some really good ones such as Hand of the King, and of course the huge, massive Game of Thrones, the board game. And they were based on the books, and the artwork, it didn't really, you could tell who everyone was, but I would look at sort of a cartoon lady and I'd think that is not Arya Stark or that is not Sansa. But in this, you're clearly seeing screenshots, so pictures from the TV show, and that really just helps with the immersion of the game. And it makes it very clear the dynamics of the room. So if you have someone playing as Shireen Baratheon, who is a little stone-faced girl, stone-faced makes her sound two-faced. It sounds like an insult. It's not an insult. She literally has a stone face. Anyway, if you're playing as Shireen, players are going to kind of come in with some expectations like, oh, Shireen's nice, maybe her powers won't be so offensive. They might be quite defensive or kind, she might be a good person to ally with. And it's very easy to start role-playing your character. As I said earlier, playing as Cersei Lannister is fun because she's evil. And I think having the links to the TV show really helps with that, especially for a casual audience who might not be super into board games, but might really like the TV show. And it's a really fun game. You're gonna be wanting one more round because, like I said, there's a big Game of Thrones game, which Game of Thrones, the board game, which is about 4 hours long, and it is amazing, but it's just a little bit long and you're not gonna want another game after you've played it, whereas this, you're gonna play around, you're gonna think, oh, I wanna win the next one. I wanna try out a different character. And that's all linked to the fact that in this board game there is around, I think, over 20 characters that you can play as, because there is 5 different houses, and each of those houses has a different leader who are these iconic characters from the show. And they all have a different ability, which means every time you play it's going to be different and it's unpredictable and weird, strange things can happen. Cosmic Encounter has never really been about this is the best board game, but I've always viewed it as this is some of the most fun you can have playing a board game due to the ridiculous situations that present themselves. As I said earlier, if you're playing as Shireen and you end up killing Tyrion Lannister, it's a bit of a weird story, it's a bit of a weird encounter. These weird scenarios are what are going to drive you back to keep playing the Iron Throne. So finally, is the Iron Throne the best Game of Thrones game that you can play? Maybe. Now, the huge Game of Thrones board game, which is also from Fantasy Flight, that is 4 hours long, is incredible. It really feels like you are tactically planning out your battle options, and you have similar things where you can make alliances and things, but it's just a bit too long for me. I want a game that I can teach people very quickly, that we can just jump straight into and they're going to enjoy. And I think it really helps Game of Thrones, the Iron Throne, that it's based on the TV show. I think that's going to help for getting people involved with the game. And the fact that it's got a 45-minute running time is just perfect. It's moreish. You're going to want to play it more and more. And we have to keep going back to the fact that the Iron Throne is based on one of the very best board games ever made. Cosmic Encounter is fantastic. And if the Iron Throne is a way for more people to play Cosmic Encounter, then that's absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I hope it's made more people aware of the Iron Throne, because I'm not seeing too much about it on the internet, but it's pretty cool and it's good fun as well. Please do like, comment and subscribe. All the usual YouTube things would be excellent. And thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.